Greetings. Welcome back to another Gwan. See that.
Greetings.
Miss Rochelle?
Yes, good evening, everybody. How everybody doing? How is everybody's day?
Good. We're good, bro.
There.
We woke up today.
It look like the podcast I get bigger and bigger. It's like a big fan there behind me. I be a celebrity. I come from Wagwan.
Yeah.
This week we have another celebrity.
I love that.
Mr. Jomo. How you doing, boss?
How are you? I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain, my man. Can't complain. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't even really feel myself like a celebrity, man. Like, I don't even look at it like that, but you know.
You're famous, brother.
Thank you.
You're famous where it matters.
Yo, my boy Jomo, I knew him for a couple of years. We met through another friend, and he's a sick ass artist. You know, he's first and foremost. His pen game, his drawing game is vicious, and that was how he got his start, I believe.
So Jomo, tell us about yourself.
Born in Belize. Came here, you know, when I was like 5. Lived in LA for like a couple of years before I moved to New York. Pretty much got into barbering when I was like 10 years old and started, you know, making money off of it like when I was like 12. And then when I graduated high school, I started getting into, like, I went straight into the barbershop. And also, yes, I'm an art enthusiast. I grew up, you know, drawing all my life. But, like, so pretty much, I didn't really know how to, like, make money off my drawing. So, you know, so pretty much, for the most part, you know, I guess cutting hair is a part of art, you know what I mean? So I just took it as that and, you know, started cutting hair and just started like trying to turn into something. But then for a little while I was working in the barbershop, you know, I got kind of tired of just like sitting in the barbershop, you know, and, you know, you're there for like almost like 16 hours of the day, most of the day, you know, and one day, I mean, like, and then on the weekends, like, you know, on Saturday, like, you know, I'm young and I'm stuck in a barbershop all day. I'm making money, but it's like, I'm not doing anything. And then, but I just got like in my head, I'm just like, I don't need, everybody needs a haircut, you know, like, why do I have to be in a barbershop to make money like that? And, so pretty much one of my cousins in California, his sister was married to an exec for J Records at the time that he was working. He was the vice president at the time. And, you know, when I eventually met him and, you know, I tried to like when I got into this like world of, you know, cutting executives, I tried to like make it something of a business, you know, just freelancing and whatever. But it's like, it took me like at least like 5 years before I like really made money. And, but, you know, while I was working in the barbershop, you know, I just was just like tired of just like sitting there and not doing anything and seeing anything. So one week, I just told the owner of the barbershop that, you know, I want to take a little vacation and just see, you know, outside of the barbershop. So when I started cutting this exec, he pretty much his name is Ken Wilson. He used to be the VP of J Records at the time, and I started cutting him, and it just like pretty much went from there. When I started cutting him, he introduced me to a couple of other execs that he was the boss of, and like, you know, all the black people there. And it just pretty much went from there. All the other execs that was on his staff. And then pretty much it just grew from there.
So Jomo, you got your first executive client through word of mouth, right? And you got your second and third.
Nepotism, right? Because you say you knew you was cousins.
Right. Well, nepotism word. Nepotism. And he was the reason you got a bunch more clients.
I could say, well, he introduced me to the other people, but it's like, it's what you do with that, you know? And
right,
pretty much, you know, from those people that he introduced me to, you know, I made sure, because he told me about other barbers that used to cut his hair, because he used to live in LA. And then he moved over here because Clive Davis, you know, when he started J Records, you know, he you know, built the staff over on this side, and he, you know, and made him the VP of that over here. So when all those people that I met, that he introduced me to, you know, I pretty much grew it from there, because he said the other barbers that pretty much he put on, they just sat there and just like tried to stay under his wing and, you know, be around him, you know. And, you know, I never saw no reason to even try to stick around, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you give me free reign to be to do what I got to do. All right, you know. And so pretty much he just, you know, showed me the ropes on how I should just move in the industry.
So where were you cutting their hair? In their office?
In their office, yeah.
So you brought like broom and towel to spread out so you can clean up when you're done.
Yeah, everything.
Gotcha. So you went from execs to what? Like, what was your next level?
I would cut these these execs. Like, so say like I'll be sitting there cutting somebody like Larry Jackson, right? You know who that is?
Oh, who's Larry Jackson?
Well, like, he's one of the execs. He was an A&R at the label, and and he's like one of the guys that when American Idol was popping, he was the A&R that took all the winners, like Fantasia and Jennifer
He's a big deal.
He's a big deal, yeah. So say like
responsible for a lot of people's careers.
Yes. And so say like I'll be sitting in his office cutting him, and then right across from him would be sitting another person like Damian Smith. I've been cutting him for years, and like to this day. And Damian manages Jennifer Hudson to this day. He managed also Earth, Wind, and Fire. So me cutting him, I started cutting Earth, Wind, and Fire through him. So like that was like the growth and how I started like growing my business.
Nice. And
let me
never. How much marketing did you do? I assume none.
No, yeah, that's the thing. Like at the time, it was no like Instagram and all that stuff. So I was just moving and doing my thing, and if you knew, you knew. You know, and at the time, maybe it was one of them internet like Facebook and but it was wonderful.
MySpace, Black Planet,
like MySpace, yeah, and like it was just all
High
that
five.
stuff like that. But you couldn't even like vote and do anything. So it was like a lot of what I was doing at the time was just like all just referrals and word of mouth. And
so every day you went to work, had to be the best day because that's how the name got around.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So and that was the reason why I took that week vacation, because when I first started, I was going down to the labels and still coming back to the barbershop and paying rent. So and then it became to the point where all the stuff that I was doing downtown was paying for the rent uptown, you know, and that's why I took the little vacation. So, and I said, you know what, let me see if I can survive outside of this barbershop without a barbershop. And I took that actually it was a 2-week vacation. And in that 2 weeks, I made more money in that 2 weeks that I did ever in like 3 years.
Because you had to give a commission for the seat, right?
Like pay rent.
Yeah. So. And what was that rent at the time, if you don't mind me asking?
Like $150
a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So here's my question to you: what were you charging to cut in the Bronx, and what were you charging the executive?
Huh?
What were you charging to cut in the Bronx, and what were you charging the executive?
So here's the funny story. So my mentor, like, you know, his name, like I said, Ken Wilson, and him being my first client, and how he told me how I should move in the business. So, like, at the time, a haircut was like $15 in the barbershop, trim and shave, stuff like that. But then when I went down to the office to go cut him, he said, so how much you gonna charge? And I was like, I don't know what I should charge you. And in my head, I'm thinking like $100 and shit like that. So then he like looked at me and he's like, man, all right, this is gonna be your price. And he took a loose leaf piece of paper and wrote on a piece of paper. And then he lifted up the piece of paper, because he always had like played around and, you know, was real sarcastic with stuff. So, and then he on a loose leaf piece of paper, he wrote like a little number 30 on the paper, and I'm like, damn, $30. And then he's like, oh, see, you're looking at it just like you're looking at the paper. Small. You're thinking small-minded. And so when I looked at 30, he's like, look, bro, in the barbershop, you'd have been charging $15, and you came here and charged me $30 just now. You just made double your price of what you would make in a barbershop. So, and he said, see me, I would, and then on top of that, you're going to be cutting me because I want to cut him twice a week. So he's like, so you're going to be making $30 off of me twice a week, every week. So then he was like, all right, so then you charge me $30, but then he walked outside and looked at at the assistant, and then he said, you see that person right there? He's making what a teacher would make. You know what I'm saying? So, and if you charge him the $30, he's not going to be able to tip you. He's just going to be able to pay you that $30, but he's going to appreciate the fact that you came to the office and cut his hair. So you just doubled your price with that and made money with that. And then, but see this, if you go around the corner and, the other A&Rs that he introduced me to, they make more money. They make 6 figures. So he's like, well, if you go around the corner and tell him $30, well, look at this. he's gonna tip you $20, $30 because he's getting money. So, if anything, when you come here and you and you charging and making money, he said, don't because this business is all about smoke and mirrors. So don't let, because you see somebody working here, that they all making a lot of money. So what you need to do is come in and make sure you make your money, but at the same time know how to go about and move around in this business accordingly. So that was my way of learning how to maneuver and how I charge people, because like when you see them, I wouldn't even know what to say as a price, because you don't know what they do in the business. So then on top of that, when you go, and then from there, like I started cutting other execs that deal with the artist personally. So now that when the artist comes to town and they need a haircut, I got that referral from the company to cut that artist. So now when I cut the artist now, I don't have to charge that price. You know what I mean? I could charge like upwards of like $300 for a haircut. So now I could sit here and make my money moving around in the business and double my price and triple my price without even having, you know what I mean? Like it's a game of chess when you're just moving around, and how I do my business.
So my question is, for somebody who is young, right, and coming up knowing nothing about anything, would you encourage them to start out at the barbershop, or take their chance and go out on a limb and start where you kind of picked up? What would be your advice to somebody who is deciding to start their own business?
Learn the business. You know what I mean? Like, you got to research, because like, as far as like, if the topic that we're talking about per se is like, entrepreneurship versus 9 to 5, like, you can say when they want to try and start their own business, and you don't have no blueprint and how you would try to do your business. So as far as like when you're trying to start up from a beginning, you should at least, my advice is at least have like a mentor in what you're trying to do, and if it is like that 9 to 5 type business, or that you're working in, like internships are always good, because then now you build relations with companies wherever you go. So like if you're starting up to try, if you're a person that's trying to start your own business, as you're asking, I would say to just like do the whole outlier thing. You know what I mean? Put in your 10,000 hours, and like I said, like master your craft before you go out and jump on a limb. Because like with me, what I'm doing is like, all right, going into the music biz, cutting in the music industry and cutting these type of people. I've been cutting here for a long time. So I already trust myself and the people that I deal with and the clients that I'm cutting. So if some barbers that in the barber shops right now that I even see that there's a lot of complaints from what I've seen as of lately, because barbers don't listen and and not listen to the client, and so I've heard. But so I say, for the most part, get the mentor in, research whatever it is that they're trying to do, and at least put yourself in the area of what you're trying to do. Like if for instance, like if you're a rapper and you're trying to get out there, doesn't make no sense that you you in your house doing certain things, and where you should be, you know, in a studio writing music or being around producers, being around, you know what I mean, like just being you have to just put yourself in that circle if this is what it is, what you want to do. Put yourself in an environment, you know.
Word. Yo, Dre,
if that answers your question.
Yo, Dre, let me ask you, how did you start your entrepreneurship? And did you have a 9-to-5 first?
I think I did a 3-year bid at AIG. Then I did a 6-year bid at Montefiore Medical Center. No, Presbyterian. I did a 5-year bid at Presbyterian. And then I did a 6-year bid at Montefiore. And so I was working at Montefiore, and I started singing in a group. It's funny that most of the changes as it relates to occupation happens because I was singing, right? So when I was working at AIG, I went to choir rehearsal, and one of the ladies in the choir, actually the HR rep that came on, Monique, she testified that she just got a new job, she just got promoted, whatever. And I jokingly said, well, hire me. And she goes, send me a resume. And then I sent her my resume, and she hired me. And so I'm singing in this new group, got married, singing in this new group, and I met another female in the group. We became friendly. And then I was working at Montefiore at the time, and we found out each other was working at Montefiore. So we were just talking, we're friendly, whatever. She tells me, hey, my husband started driving chauffeur. And I was just like, oh, wow, good for him. Us as Jamaican people were like, I'm not, you know, you run taxi. You're going to drive taxi, you know, and we look down on that kind of thing, right? So, she's like, I was like, I'm not going to quit my office job to go run taxi. And she's like, Andre, he's making $3,000 by Wednesday. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, he works from Monday to Wednesday, and then he stops working. I'm like, I'm working here at Montefiore for 2 weeks to make $900. And this is where 90% of people lie. So when you're working at Montefiore and you're making $900 every single Thursday, you can depend on your money every single Thursday. Mm-hmm. When you step out on your own, if you don't go out and earn, you don't eat. And a lot of people, don't trust themselves enough to depend on themselves. And so they rather stay, even though they know, if I go and do this, I can make $2,000 in 3 days or $3,000 in 3 days. They rather stay at the job making considerably less just so they can have that security. Yep. It's automatic. I don't have to do anything. I show up, I get $900 every 2 weeks. And so when she told me that, I was like, what? I got to talk to your husband. Spoke to him, and he corroborated what she said. And I said, all right. I started putting things in the works to go buy my first vehicle. And, you know, I test drove it a couple of weekends, and when I saw that, hey, I'm working Saturday night, Sunday, and I'm making X amount of dollars, imagine what I could do all day. I went back to work, took like, I don't know, I think I called out sick for like 2-3 weeks. And then I was like, all right, let me stop playing with these people. I just resigned. And I've been out on my own since then.
To defend the 9 to 5 people, I just want to say, so everybody is not built to not know what's coming next and live in that spontaneity, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I understand, but most people who work a 9 to 5 are unhappy with either their job or the amount of money that they make.
Totally.
And even with that sense of discomfort, they still won't make a change. And it's funny that when I stepped out, I didn't have a whole bunch of connections, because in my industry, you need to know wealthy people. Wealthy people is who pays me. When I first started, just like Jomo went from $15 a cut to $500 a cut. When I first started, I remember explicitly, I was billing a client for 1 week's worth of work, and I think the bill was like $2,500. And I felt guilty charging this guy $2,500 for 1 week's worth of work, because I know I'm leaving a $900 bi-weekly job.
What did you feel guilty about? What did you feel guilty about?
I felt like I was overcharging it.
Jomo, you had that first feeling too?
Yeah.
When you first started?
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder what that's called.
Well, huh?
I wonder what that is. What is that called?
No, because it's the fact that you are conditioned to that price.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That way of living right there. So when you get into a new like a spectrum or area of people that, like, it's a whole upper echelon of spending, you like you know, like, then you don't know what it is that is, you know, that's where the guilt comes from, because it's like now you're charging somebody else something that you could have charged this price right here, when it's just it's a mind thing. It's totally a mental thing.
Mm-hmm. The reason I asked you how much you charge, Jomo, is because I was watching this guy on the internet, and he was having a conference, and he said to a little kid that wanted to be successful, he said, "What do you do?" He said, "I wash cars. I have a car wash business." And he said, "You know what? You want to be successful?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Go to an affluent neighborhood and wash people's cars for free. Go to them and say, 'Hey, can I wash your car for free? You can tip me when I'm done if you think I did a good job. But just go and wash their cars for free.'" And pretty much, yeah. And he was like, "I'm gonna give you $100 to go wash my car." So pretty much, the guy told you, well, he didn't say free, but $30 in comparison to $500 or $300. That's damn near free.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of why I asked you, what do you charge the cuts? Because, you know,
and
that's it.
It depends on the company, you know. So like, you know, I've made $1,000 for a haircut before too, you know, for one cut. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm going to cosmetology school.
So, or I've been able to like make like $200 and something an hour for a company. You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean? Like, it's just like you just got to put yourself in the right area, because, like I said, it's like you could cut hair in a barbershop, or you can like think big, you know, like think out the box, like. And this is where it's like I just feel like people just have to start thinking out, you know, differently, because it's the people in school that want to be in school and sit there and learn how to be, you know, go to school for like 8 hours and then, you know, learn that structure of life, and then, or you can be the person that want to be the entrepreneur and don't even want to be in school and just want to be out there and sell, and gotta have this, and because like that's like people like Gary Vee, you know what I mean? Like when I watch his when he talks to people, and he talked about when he was a kid, and he's a billionaire now, and like he said he did poorly in school, and it's not that he, it's just that he didn't want to be there, and he just knew already what he wanted. So it's like it's certain people that know what they want out of life already, and know what they want to do, and it's people that just like that used to just be living by structure. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let me ask, like, we know it's not all about the money. Sometimes it's something bigger than the money. So
yeah.
Me and Rochelle got to defend the 9-to-5ers. Rochelle, how did you become a teacher?
So teaching has always been a part of my family. My mom was a teacher. My sister was a teacher. So basically, I grew up in a house filled with teachers. And when I came to the United States, there was a program that literally, it doesn't matter what degree you could actually teach in the classroom, and then they will give you your certification while you're teaching. And I did that program called the Teaching Fellows. There's also a sister program called Teaching Collaborative. We also have other ones like that, like Teacher America, all these other things, like trying to get teachers into classrooms that you would not normally, well, they have a fast turnover rate because it's in the inner city. And that's how I started my 9-to-5 from Jamaica, and then came here and started to do that. But I want to ask you gentlemen one question. Do you believe education is important to become an entrepreneur, or do you think you don't need education, you can just start your business?
Jomo, you want to go first?
I guess I can answer. If you it depends the type of person you are, like seriously, because like if you have a plan, you know what I mean, like when not even a plan, because like whenever you because when you're trying to do what you're trying to do, is like there's ups and there's downs in trying to get where you're trying to be with your business. But as long as you have like a goal that you're trying to meet with what you're trying to do, I feel that you learn as you go. That's how I went. I just knew what I didn't want to do, and which was have a boss. Like I didn't like working for anybody, and I just wanted to make sure that I could avoid that situation as much as I can, and that's how I managed, like how I maneuvered as an entrepreneur. And everybody has their own story, and but that's like for me, from my end, on how I tackled my entrepreneurship.
So Rochelle, I think it depends on what you want to do. So if you wanna become a CPA and run your own accounting firm, obviously you have to go and get the education to do so. If you want to run a bakery, obviously you can go to culinary school, or chef, whatever. You can go to culinary school, but there are some people out there where their family cooks, and or cooking is a big part of their family dynamics, right? And so just being around the family, being around the kitchen, you learn and you pick up things, and you become good. You become a good cook. That person, I don't think it's necessary for that person to go to school to start a business, because the business that they want to do, they can learn the necessary skills without having to go to culinary school. Now, they can go to culinary school to get the licenses and whatnot. But to open a restaurant, right? I don't know that you need a culinary license to open a restaurant. If you can cook and you have the wherewithal to open the business license and open your a storefront and make sure it's up to code. I don't know specifically that you need a culinary license to open a restaurant. So to answer your question specifically, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. What kind of business you're trying to do would determine, my opinion, if you need to go to school to get to start your business or not. There are some people that want to open a daycare, and they figure they have to go to college to study business to open a daycare. To me, that's nonsensical. Because if you want to open a daycare, it's highly likely that you like to deal with children. So if you like to deal with children, that's what your business is surrounding, right? Yes, when you go to school to study business, you're going to learn how to organize and properly manage people, and you're going to learn certain lingos. I'll give you an example. So I have a friend who she's also an HR rep, right? And she was doing these programs where with the city, where you go and you sit in these classes and they teach you business. It's like business courses. And I'm sitting there in the class and I'm listening. And I'm like, I know all this stuff already. But I know it because I am doing business, right? And I'm an intelligent guy, I think. So I learn as I'm doing things, and I'm talking to people in my field. A lot of successful business people tell you don't learn how to become a successful business person in school. You learn how to become a successful business person doing business. And so I'm not trying to disparage people from going to school, but I think it will cost you less if you understand what it is you're trying to do before you start making steps just aimlessly trying to get where you think you need to go. If you want to open a patient care facility, obviously you got to go get some medical kind of license, whether it's counseling, you want to become a social worker, so you got to go get some kind of licensing, and you have to go to school for those. But as it relates to, certain fields, if you want to become a contractor, and your mom, your dad, and your uncles and whatever, they've been doing contract work for years, and so you understand how to build. You can do floors, you can renovate houses. You don't need to go to school to learn construction because you got a school at home with your family. So you can learn the business and start your own business that way. Hopefully I answered your question to your liking.
Let me ask a question to everybody now. Back in the day before money was created, you would grow 2 peaches, I would grow 4 apples, we would switch it, bartering. Now, in today's society, do y'all feel that everybody can be an entrepreneur, or like everybody that you know can be an entrepreneur, or are some people meant to have a 9 to 5?
That's like, I feel in society there are definitely like 2 sets of people, and it's either that, you're a sheeple, so to speak. Like you easily, you like to be led, or it's a person that wants to lead. Like I just feel it's just those 2 different type of people. And it's you and it's your choice on how you move forward in life.
Yeah. And were you taught to lead, or did you just fall into that?
Well, my father, even, carry on what you were saying right there, as far as with the family. And my father was always an entrepreneur, and he was like a contractor. He could build anything. And all my life, I watched him work for himself. And I've also seen him before, like when I moved to New York. Before that, he was like working with somebody and like working with a company, and he was working for a company, contracting company, and he got jobs and stuff like that. Then by the time we moved to New York, he was doing his own thing, had his own business and stuff like that. And he's always said he'd rather be the person that controls his own time. And I've always liked that idea, So I like the fact that I control my own time, So
yeah,
it's either you're a person that's used to structure, or don't, or a person that just don't like structure.
Yeah.
I agree partially. I think a lot of people in the world, most people in the world, are good laborers. So they can show up at 9 o'clock and they can put their heads down and they can use their hammer and hit the rock till 9 or till 5 o'clock, and then they can get off and go home. So that means that there are a lot of people out there who have the ability to be diligent with what they're doing, right? I think more people than not have the ability to start businesses. Now, there are some people out there who they need someone over them to motivate them to work. But I feel like most people don't need that. Like Ali, there isn't someone over you, driving the whip for you to work, right? But here you are defending the 9-to-5ers. You get where I'm coming from? So I think most people have the capability, because prior to me doing what I'm doing, I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship wasn't in my purview. I was just like, all right, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to, get my education. So when the opportunity comes for a promotion, I'm the likely candidate and I can go get my promotion and continue using a job to think about my success in life financially. After I started the business, I can't see myself working in a job again.
Rochelle, let me ask you a question. Is being a teacher fulfilling?
I love teaching. I think that's my passion. I think I love to see when students come in, they may not know something, and then you start opening up their minds, you start opening up their thinking, and just seeing that spark in their eye, just hearing them excited, letting them know like there's more than these four walls. There's more to life than your block. There's more to life than what's right in front of you, right? So to answer my own question, I believe education is important. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? No, I'm not talking education as in going to college or, whatever. No. But I believe you need that start. You need that foundation to know how to manage the business, right? Just like what Andre said. You need the know-how of when you make this money, what are you going to do, right? Just don't go spend it all on the newest whatever, but maybe invest, right? So because you're not working for somebody, maybe you don't have health insurance. You're not going to have a pension. So maybe getting an education is going to start preparing you for, okay, I need to get my pension together. I need to start saving money for when I cannot work. What if there's an accident? So maybe I need to have insurance to make sure if anything happens to me, my kids, my family, my assets, everything will still be going. So I think you do need, and not just, and I'm not talking about high school or whatever, but I'm just saying educating yourself. Be in the know-how of how to prepare yourself for the future, not just now. Because money is nice now when it's a lot. However, it's not how much you work, it's how much you're able to save, it's how much you're able to turn over to make sure that it's a profit later on in your life. Because nobody's going to live forever. And the older we get, then that's when the 9 to 5 kind of seems comfortable. And I think that is why a lot of people are like afraid to become entrepreneurs, because they're thinking, oh, when I'm 65, at least I'll have money in my 401k. At least I'll have dental and I'll have health. And I think that's why a lot of people shy away from wanting to become entrepreneurs, including myself. Because hearing these prices, I'm just like, what? That's what a teacher makes in like a month, right? What the prices that I'm hearing you gentlemen roll off your tongue, right? So maybe that is something that I need to invest in. Maybe starting my own business while teaching in the days, because of course that's how some businesses start as well. So my next question for you, Andre and Jomo. All right, do you? And I think Ali stole my question for real, because not everybody is fit for entrepreneurship. But my question to you: what are some qualities that you think, if I can identify those qualities, then you can say, listen, if you are able to do this, then you are literally an entrepreneur. What are those qualities that you gentlemen would be able to identify, and probably people can start saying, oh, I think I have that, so maybe I could go down that road?
I'm going to answer that one first. I'll say, are you willing to mop the floors?
Denied.
That's it.
Ali, what does that even mean? Are you willing to mop the floor? So all
that means, are you willing to do the dirty work for yourself that nobody else wants to do? To me, you know what I mean? Like, put in those late hours. You know what I mean?
The interesting thing is, when you have your own business, you are going to have to do the dirty work that no one else wants to do.
Right.
Because no one else wants to do it, but it has to get done because it's part of the business. Like Jomo, his business doesn't have this kind of, I don't think he gets annoyed if he has to fly to California to cut somebody's hair for $1,000. When you fly, they pay your flight and your hotel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he almost doesn't have any dirty work in his line of work.
I will say this, like you're saying right now, it, like in the beginning, I didn't make no real money. You know what I mean? Like it was far in between, and I had to believe in. Like, I didn't even know. Like when you asked earlier, it's like I had this planned out. Like none of it was like planned. Like I started cutting an exec, and I saw an opportunity to get away from the barbershop, and I didn't even look at it as like, what, I'm turning this into a business, and I'm gonna create Jomo cuts, and I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? Like it just morphed as I went. So and I totally went at this without a plan. I just knew that I didn't want to cut hair in a barbershop anymore.
Now, Dre, let me ask you a question. What is the most annoying part about being an entrepreneur? Because we got to let people know the both sides. There's the money side, but then there's the annoying side. What's the most annoying part? Especially you being a family man.
So if you remember, okay, so I tell you this all the time, Ali, and people can judge me when I say it again. Making sure that food is on the table for my family is at the utmost importance for me, right? So I'm always going to be hustling and grinding to make sure that food is on the table. And so some of the annoying parts of it is, since I became an entrepreneur, I haven't been off on my birthday. I work. When I was a worker, I never worked on my birthday, and I had every holiday off. I had sick days, I had vacation days, so even if the company wasn't off, I can take those days off. This Thanksgiving, I worked. My wife complains almost every New Year I work. So some of the annoying parts of being an entrepreneur is that if you don't kill, you don't eat. So you're always thinking about making sure that you're killing enough, because food needs to stay on the table.
Right. And you need to be prepared for a dry season, kind of, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Too. And that's the other. I could attest to that as far as like even saying what's annoying as far as like inconsistencies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna always,
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, it's gonna be like you're gonna like so like even though I'm I make a little more money, it's still that the thing of this week is this week like this, and this week is gonna be another week. So or it's a company that you're booking and they canceled on you, and this is money that you already, pretty much booked into, your account, and, and you cleared that day for that client. And then now when they cancel, you're out that day and
twice. You lose
other
twice.
clients. Yeah. So it's that the inconsistency sometimes that come along with this business, and some of them you can have a kill fee with some companies, but some of them don't do that. You know what I mean? So you just gotta pretty much almost like wing it.
You gotta hold that L.
Yeah, you gotta hold that L.
Now, Rochelle, let me ask you a question. We know that we've heard the thing of where somebody dies and their job gets posted 2 days later. Now, Dre was talking about, we know that check is going to always come every Thursday, no matter what, when you're on a job. Do you think the security of a 9 to 5 is an illusion? Or do you think that there is really security in 9 to 5s?
Honestly, it is an illusion. Because, okay, let's look at this year, right? Everybody that was, I have my job, have my insurance, my medical, I have everything that I need, right? Now they mandated COVID vaccine, right? That's how quick you know that everything is an illusion. The minute you go against the grain, the minute you go against the institution, right? It's the minute they're like, okay, good luck, right? Look at how many nurses and doctors that work right through the pandemic and they never got the vaccine. The minute the vaccine mandate was, all the hospitals were like, if you're not taking it, good luck to you. Have a great life, right? And these are jobs that we always thought, oh my gosh, you are literally secure. Once you're a nurse, always a nurse. You always have a job. But now it's not like that. It's the same thing in my department. They came up with a vaccine mandate. And they said, if you don't take that vaccine mandate, we are taking you off payroll. You know what that means? You could go to work. You could work every day, guess what? You're not getting paid because they already took you off the payroll. So absolutely, it isn't an illusion because as soon as you're no longer of value in whatever way to the institution, they're going to get rid of you. So absolutely, I agree with you. What about you? What about you, gentlemen? Do you think the 9 to 5 is an illusion and it's just underpaying and devaluing ourselves, kind of like whoring out ourselves for the system? What are your thoughts?
This is why I'm an entrepreneur.
Yo, let me also just chime in with this. I would say there would be no queen bee without the workers. So I think that workers are necessary too. And like the people that go to a church work for the pastor. You know what I mean? We don't know who's getting that money. You know what I mean? So I think that workers are necessary. Like we all have a favorite teacher that, you know what I mean, helped us become what we were. That was probably even more of a blessing to some of us than our parents, So I don't think we should just count out the workers, you know what I mean?
No, I never counted, I wouldn't count out the workers, but I just feel like the way they structure the 9 to 5 system is geared towards you because like she said, it's like that total illusion. You know what I mean? Like at the end of all this, I don't think there's even going to be a Social Security at the end of the day for a lot of people. Yes. And so with that, I knew a guy that my next door neighbor, and older man, he's in like 60s, late 60s, early 70s, and he was working with this company for like 24 years. And he went on vacation. But at the same time, he was training somebody in his position. So when he telling me that, we was on the train, I'm like, as he telling me the story, I'm like, damn, does he know that they're going to fire him? And because I know how they bamboozle you. So he's training this young person in his position, and he went on vacation. When he came back from his vacation, they fired him. And 1 year before his 25th year of retirement. You know what I mean? So it was crazy that, he was up for the illusion that he knew he was going to be good at the end of 25 years. And he could go and chill with his wife and do what he wanted to do in his life and travel and whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But that illusion went up in smoke when he got, and he couldn't get his pension. And he didn't even do anything wrong to lose his pension and to get fired. So
companies should get sued for stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's the funny part, because even right now, the thing that I know about, like, that I learned about even the mandates with the people getting that's leaving work right now is because a lot of people are getting pressured. So with the pressure, they either leave or go take the vaccine. And a lot of people aren't knowing that the fact that it's not even a law, it's a mandate. So technically they can't fire you, because if they fire you, they're gonna have to give you a package, a package for you to retire with when they fire you like that, because it's not by law. So that's why a lot of people that's getting a tight squeeze that either go take the shot or leave or quit. You know what I mean? And none of them are leaving it to them for them to get fired. Because and the companies know that they can't fire you for that. For whoever does get fired, they can sue the company. And a lot of people don't know they can sue the company for that, because they're gonna have to give you a severance package.
Right.
They fired.
To your point, a lot of the companies are not saying they're firing you. So what they tell you is that until you get the vaccine, you go on no pay leave. So on the books, you are still an employee, right? However, you cannot get another job. You cannot file for unemployment because you're still employed. However, you're getting no money. So that is the tight squeeze that you're referring to. So it's very smart, but it's also very diabolical what they're doing.
Yeah, because they can't fire you. They know they can't fire you. So knowing that they can't fire you, they put that tight squeeze on you. And and that's the like you said, the diabolicalness behind the whole thing and the illusion behind this whole thing, because all they're doing is create, the new, just trying to create something. But, I don't want to get deep into that.
Yo, I have a boy, and his job told him he had to get the vaccine or else he would have got fired. And he got it, and they fired him 2 weeks later.
Wow. But why did they fire him?
I'm not really sure about the details, but the idea that he was trying to hold out until his job told him that, and then 2 weeks later he got fired, is insane to me.
Bamboozle, man.
Yeah. That is why entrepreneurs talk disparagingly against working for a job, working for a company. Because these things happen all the time. He's lucky. He's lucky that all he got was fired. There are a bunch of people that got the vaccine, got injured, and the company is not taking responsibility for the injury. The vaccine manufacturer is not taking responsibility for the injury.
Wow.
Because the government absolved them of that.
You know why, right?
And so, because the law says you can't sue the vaccine manufacturer. You got to sue the government. And the government is who decides what is a vaccine injury. So they tell you what's allowed to be called vaccine injury.
And you're suing them. And the police.
Damn right.
Thing, though.
Wow.
This is the thing, though. Like, as of 1984, Ronald Reagan, he the one who passed the law saying, or making sure that they can't be liable for anything because of what happened in 1976 with SARS and the lawsuits that happened after that one. You know what I mean? So after that situation happened the way it did, there was billions of dollars of people suing the government for all these injuries because of the vaccine. But then like I said, with Ronald Reagan, and he became president, he was able to pass that law in which all the pharmaceutical companies aren't liable of anything, and that's when they started going hard in everything after that. And now, they're not liable since 1984.
That's also when an uptick in, well, I've never done research on this, but when you watch the documentaries about, I think there's a documentary called Vaxxed, and in that documentary they were saying after that law was passed and all the vaccines, a lot of vaccines became mandated and so on. That's when you got to start see a lot of the uptick in like autism and a lot of other vaccine-related injuries.
Exactly.
And like I said, you got to sue the government, and the government is telling you what you are allowed to sue for.
So I don't see any any liability. You know what I mean? Like it's anything that they say you can. Just like right now, they told you can get a loan for your business, but for the most part, a lot of us know that we're redlined. So they'll say you can, but then you're gonna go to court for like 4 years, and then you find out that like it's just a whole thing that they put you through before you find out that you can't even sue them or you can't even get anything.
Now, let me ask y'all this. Jomo, was being a barber your passion, or was it something that you did use to get money?
it was just actually a hobby. You know, it was something that I always just knew how to do because I was one of those kids that was into everything. Like I said, I was always drawing. So, you know, I was more into like wanting, my passion is art. So, is, you know, drawing and that kind of creativity. And then when my hobby turned into something, you know, I just, I just saw opportunity, you know what I mean? And just took advantage of the opportunity and just ran with it.
Yeah, and I've seen you cut some amazing things, like designs into people's heads.
Oh yeah, thanks.
So you definitely blended the tool.
Yeah, made that my paintbrush, so to speak.
I tell these people all the time, stop you chasing your passion to try to make money from your passion. Chase money and do your passion after work. There are very few people in the world, and you can tell me your opinion on this yourself. I feel like there are very few people in the world whose passion is what they are using to earn money to live.
Yeah.
And if they are, it's not a substantial income to live off of. There are very few people whose passion is making them a lavish lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so my rule is, forget your passion. Do your passion after work. Go do something that makes you a ton of money so you can go and enjoy your passion after work.
You know what?
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, sorry to cut you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
No, because I was going to build on what you were saying right there. You know what I mean? Like, what I'm trying to do right now at this point is like turn my so basically, my passion was like, was fashion and designing and, that type of thing. And then, cutting heads, was a hobby, but at the same time, like it was a slight passion because I like the creativity in the same respect, And so right now I'm about to like turn this hobby and mix my hobby with my passion. You know what I mean? So it could become a fulfilling thing all around at this point of with my business and in my entrepreneurship too. Like I have ways to be able to like blend and turn certain parts of, because I feel like I'm all around, like feel like a Renaissance person, like a Renaissance man. I'm into art. I'm into, I do martial arts. I like to dance. You know what I mean? Like I'm into everything. So I want to turn all these things that's my passion into a business. And in this day and time, you can, because back then you really, it was a lot of things were shunned upon. But nowadays, it's like the new kids nowadays are making money off of their passion, and I'm starting to see that more now. And it's like I'm like now I'm like I said I want to morph my business, being I have a little freedom to play around with my business. Are trying to blend in my passion into what it is that I'm making money off of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yo, we know that now there are some 10, 15-year-olds that make more than two adults make in 10 years just by being on social media. Do you guys feel like that is something for people to strive for nowadays, being a social media celebrity, so to speak? Come closer to the mic.
Am I better now?
Yeah.
That's better.
Okay,
Whatever you're doing now, just keep doing that.
Okay. Sorry. Yes. So I believe if that's your passion, go ahead, give it a try, right? You don't know what you have, just give it a try. So, for example, the person who made the most money on YouTube, I think last year, I think he's 6 years old, and he made over $24 million. And all he did was just play with toys, which that's what a normal kid would do, play with toys. But his parents were like, "Oh, we love how you play with your toys. Let's take a video." And he probably started just like that. And now he has created generational wealth for his grandkids. And he's just 6 years old. So, I mean, not everybody's going to be successful because, again, you have to make it's an investment. You have to make sure you have people behind you. You have to make sure this is something that you're studying. You have to make sure that you're able to advertise and, get into YouTube and make sure that your video is probably in the top or TikTok or whatever it is, because that's the new trend. So it's just to make sure that you're marketable in whatever you're doing. What about you, gentlemen? Do you think that's the new trend? That's where entrepreneurship is heading?
Yeah. Because now, me starting to learn more about what the future format is starting to be, because like a lot of my clients, I lost a lot of clients during COVID because, understandably, everybody's home and whatever, and all the labels to this day is still closed. So, but a lot of my clients are online now, and they're doing their Zoom calls and whatever the case may be. So I have less people that I go to, like, because every day I went to the office and had a set of people every day that I cut at the office. Now, like, everybody's scattered everywhere and whatever now. So, but for the most part, everybody's like online doing their business and making money online from their house. So for me right now, I'm pretty much trying to, I'm going to gearing my business towards internet or online in some way where I make money online. And I feel that if you want to be a success in any way, shape, or form, the social media is a platform that you have to use as a marketing tool in the new, in the ongoing future.
In the digital age.
Yeah, because lately I've just been learning about NFTs, and that's going to be the wave of the future. And if you don't know about NFTs right now, I think everybody needs to get up on that right now, because that's the next wave.
Yeah.
How you gonna cut hair online, Jomo? How you gonna cut hair online, Jomo?
No, in the metaverse. In the metaverse.
It's the metaverse.
Oh, exactly. The metaverse. You gonna be cutting people here in the metaverse. That's what's up. I could do that.
Like, it's different now, bro. And you got to figure out how to maneuver your business into that new world order of business. You know what I mean? And even if, like you say, like, I'm cutting hair, whatever the case may be, but like I said, I have other passions away from me cutting hair that I felt that I left myself like one-dimensional just being a barber on my social media. When it's like it's so much more different to me than just barbering. And this is where I'm about to like take it to the next level as far as like internet wise for my business. Right. Yeah, utilizing what I built with the barbering and the connections that I've made in the past 20 years with my barbering.
Yes. Yeah. You have tools in your toolbox that you can use, in the NFT space, and you're making sure you are acquainted with what's possible on the internet. I'm still trying to figure out, the purpose of NFTs. I don't.
Same here. I learned about it this week. Sorry to cut you. Go ahead.
You just learned about NFTs?
Yeah, you know what I mean. I heard, but then like this week, like it was just so much. A couple of my clients like came to me and just like full on conversations, like telling me about it and how I should start paying attention. You know what I mean? And if like people like Zuckerberg and Bill Gates are invested in this shit, then clearly this shit is going to be like true story.
Yeah, I'm still trying to wrap my head around how the average everyday person is going to use it. So similar thing with cryptocurrency, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm still waiting for the day I'm going to be able to pay you in Bitcoin to cut my hair. I mean, the day is here, but nobody's doing it. And all these coins and cryptocurrencies are running up and, 2,000%, 50%, 70%, gaining on the day. And I'm like, why is it valuable? Because nobody's using it. So why, outside of people going to buy it?
It's gonna be scary with that though, because the flip side to NFTs is that it's all on Ethereum platform, and if anybody know the flip side to the Ethereum and them with that is like all the fossil fuel that they're burning with that. So like if NFTs start blowing up and shit like that and becoming a big thing, then it's becoming a environmental thing after that. You know what I mean? So like it's like such a flip side, and so you don't know how long this wave is gonna last. You know what I mean? So like,
hold on, what you're saying? The digital money is connected to burning fossil fuel?
Yeah, because you mine
you're mining.
Yeah. So the way crypto works is, everyone has access to the records, right? Contrary to the conventional money, each individual bank have their individual record for their customers. As it relates to cryptocurrency, everyone has access to the ledger. I don't know where they go to see it, but everyone has access to the ledger.
And the machines have all of it. Yeah.
Right. So every person, like you can have a miner in your house, Ali. Right? You go, you buy a router, you set it up to mine Ethereum, right? And so the fossil fuel that Jomo's talking about is the fossil fuel that provides the electricity to your miner, and your miner is a router, right? Internet router. And what the miners do is, every time a transaction happens, so every time someone buys or sells a cryptocurrency, it has to be recorded in the ledger online, and each person who has a miner, it's possible that their miner would record that transaction. So that's the fossil fuel that he's talking about. And I think Elon Musk was talking about that with, was it Doge? Yeah. That's why he jumped off of Doge or Bitcoin. No, it was Bitcoin. He was on Bitcoin first when he announced Tesla was going to buy Bitcoin. And then he was like, oh, they're burning too much fossil fuels, and Bitcoin took a huge dive. Then he jumped on Doge. Doge took a run, and now he's on to Shiba. And who knows what else he's going to be jumping on next. But that's what he's talking about. Say it again.
Like you said, jumping on and jumping off of.
Yep. And I feel like he's doing massive pump and dumps. And people are sitting there following him and running behind him. But by the time they get in, he's dumping on their heads.
Yeah. And the only good thing that you can do with that, his information, is capitalize on it when he first says it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like when he said that whole thing a few months back, and everybody made money off Like the stocks jumped on that day, and then the next day.
What are you talking about?
Huh?
What are you talking about?
2 months ago, he spoke. What did he talk about? I think it was the whole thing with Ethereum, and he started. No, it was Doge actually, like you said, and everybody jumped on it, and then the minute he jumped off of it, you know what I mean? That was it. And then so you got to be that person, like whenever he's talking about that situation, you jump on it and capitalize on him saying it, and then after that, so you got to be on Twitter paying attention to what he says in order to capitalize on the stock market.
He's the crypto Trump.
Yeah, exactly. So whatever he says on Twitter, you got to pay attention to, because when he says on Twitter, that's what determines everything. And then right after that, it just drops. So you got to capitalize on him and what he's saying at the time when he says what he says, and then move from there. That's the pattern I've noticed.
Yeah. Now let me ask you guys this. A kid just finished high school, 18 years old, is deciding on whether to go to college or whether to start a business. What advice would you give that 18-year-old?
Somebody can answer that first.
Yeah. So I would find out from him what he's good at. So he's 18. He just finished high school. He should have already have looked up career paths. If he's finished high school, he should have looked up career paths when he was a junior, so he can decide if he's going to college, what college he's going to. He's graduated now, so he decided that he's not going to college, right? So I need to know what he's good at. What is he good at, and what is his interest? And based on those things, then I'll say, hey, you need to go in this direction or that direction. If he's good at math, then I'm going to say you should really look into college, because if you can get into the finance industry, you can make a substantial amount of money, right? If he says he's good with his hands, I'm going to say, okay, well, you can go become a plumber, you can become a carpenter, you can become a contractor where you fix houses or do renos. There are many things that you can do without having to go to college to make a good living. The house I just sold, my neighbor was a plumber, right? Came to America, a couple years ago, maybe 10 years ago. Now the dude is in a house that's almost worth $1 million. There's a Porsche in his driveway, all these different things. And you're like, this dude fixed toilets. Yeah, he does. Mm. So, again, I think, you talk about this a lot, Ali, about going to college and running up debt. I think us as a people need to understand what it is that we want to do, what it is that we can do, and then make wise decisions based on that. A lot of people go to college for some degree or another, and they come out and do something completely different. One of my boys went to college to become a pastor. Came out and he's a social worker, right? So I think we need to be more intentional and be more wise about the things we're doing and the guidance we're giving the young people coming up, because that's what's shaping our community. Because these young people aren't being guided by their loved ones and their parents, the community itself can't rise up, because we're sitting here at the bottom, taking the security job because that's the best one we can find, or taking the janitor job because that's the best one we can find. And, there are some janitors in Manhattan that are making six figures. There's some supers in Manhattan that are making six figures. So not to, speak disparagingly against, a janitor, but I'm just saying we don't have to be sifting the bottom of the barrel all the time. We could start stepping up and stepping out if, we had guidance, proper guidance from our elders. And I guess people like you and Jomo and myself and Rochelle, I guess people like us is who has to be the ones to give the counsel to the coming generation. Because you guys are always talking about, socioeconomic status and where blacks are. And the only reason blacks are where they are is because they can't afford to be elsewhere. And when we start counseling each other on, different fields to get into, right? So that, the people getting into these fields can start looking out for one another. And then as a society, right? They always say rising tide. That's my name on wherever. Rising tide, right? And so they always say rising tide lifts all boats. And so if I'm an electrician and I see a black kid coming to become an electrician, I'm gonna be like, hey, Ali, hire that kid, man. He's a good kid. He can work or whatever it is. So now we got two black electricians. Then when he starts working and making money, his friends seeing him making money and he's not a drug dealer or a rapper. He has a nice car, a nice house, whatever. Now his friends want to be an electrician. And before you know it, black people are now interested in electrical engineering, right? And so these are the kinds of things I think we should be doing to our youngsters instead of watching TV and doing what we see on TV, because the TV stands for television.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're sitting down and watching the lies this TV is telling you, you are always going to be stupid and making stupid decisions.
Okay. Jomo, what about you? What would you tell a 18-year-old who's deciding on whether to start their business or go to college first?
Like you said before, they should at least have a plan. If they're going to be an entrepreneur, they should at least know what it is that they like to do, and if it is because for the most part, when you're doing your entrepreneurial whatever, to some extent, it is your passion. You know what I mean? Because you wouldn't be doing it if you didn't want it, like doing it that bad, to want to put it all out there and take chances on something like that. I don't think you would not take chances on something you didn't really like. So, or as an entrepreneur, I just feel like you should definitely have a plan on what it is that you want to do, in agreement to Dre. And then also with college, well, I say if anybody does go to college, and again, to what Dre was saying, a lot of the people come out of college and don't do what it is that they went to college for. So, but for the most part, the suggestion I give any kid that's going to college is if for the most part you're not going to really learn anything in the school, a lot of the time when you go to the college, it's the people that you meet there. So so for the time that you're in there, make sure you network with the right people, because those kids that you're meeting in that school has parents, you know what I mean, and parents that are influential in some way or shape or form. So I know a lot of people that went through college and don't remember nothing they learned in school, but remember everybody that they met in the school. So
right.
So for the most part, like coming out of college, and if I do tell a young man or young woman to go to college, I say make sure they stress and in who they meet and create and build on those relationships with those people that you meet in college, because that's gonna be more important than anything. This is why most people that go to college, those black colleges, go to fraternities and sororities. You know what I mean? Because these sororities and fraternities are influential, and when they graduate college, they can get a job, or they have that relationship with this fraternity that could, influence this new job for them, or this situation. Even if you want to be an entrepreneur, and you can use this network of people that you met in college to build on your entrepreneurship when you get out. You know what I mean? So it's many ways you can flip that. That would be my advice.
Thank you. I would say that what I would tell the child, the 18-year-old, I would tell him to work backwards. So envision yourself as you see yourself and work backwards from there. What do you see yourself in your optical, when you're 100% of yourself? What do you see yourself doing? And then let's reverse and get to that. And if it's the entrepreneurial route, I would say don't quit. Don't quit, cream rises to the top. And figure out your version of success, because that is going to let you get to where you need to go. When you figure out what is success to you.
And if it works in your head, it will work in real life.
Yeah. That's dope.
Jomo, I wish you all the best, my brother. Thank you so much for your time. Like I said earlier,
Jomo. Bless up.
It was a pleasure having you. I look forward to you coming back on and talking about some of the other things that you want to do or are doing to propel yourself in the future coming. Because a lot of people don't know that maybe those folks that got fired because they didn't take the vaccine, maybe it's a gift, because the world is changing and a lot of people...
I totally believe it's a gift.
Yeah, a lot of people are sitting around still going through the motions. They took their vaccines, and so they're still going through the motions of, the mundane life, and, not prepared for when, the world don't need humans anymore. And that is fast coming around the corner.
Yes.
That is fast coming around the corner. So, brother, thank you, and feel free to come back anytime you want. Share some of your
Thanks for having me.
Insight.
Thanks for having me.
Yo, if y'all want to check out some of Jomo's amazing cuts, y'all can follow him on Instagram at Jomo Cuts. You can spell that for me, Jomo?
JOMOCUTS.
Word. And we are on Instagram too, WAHGWAN podcast. If you want to email us, you can, any topic ideas, you can email us too at wagwanpodcast@gmail.com. Yo, bless,
brethren.